I stared at my phone in disbelief as another string of messages from Patricia, my mother-in-law, lit up the screen. Each notification brought a new demand, each more outrageous than the last. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I considered how to respond to her latest ultimatum. I deserve $5,000 monthly from you and Marcus. After all, I'm the reason you have that beautiful mansion. Don't forget that. Her message glared at me, dripping with entitlement. I'm Olivia, 32 years old, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had a decent relationship with my mother-in-law. Sure, she could be a bit dramatic at times, but I never imagined she'd try to extort money from us using our own home as leverage. The same home she had supposedly gifted us as a wedding present. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The way she insisted on handling all the paperwork herself. How she dodged our questions about the previous owners. The mysterious phone calls she'd taken hushed tones, stepping away whenever Marcus or I came near. But I was too caught up in the whirlwind of wedding planning and the excitement of moving into our dream home to notice these red flags. Marcus and I met 5 years ago at a charity gala. He was there representing his architectural firm, while I was covering the event for my investigative journalism column. We clicked instantly, bonding over our shared love of old movies and passion for uncovering the truth behind facades. The irony of that last part isn't lost on me now. When Marcus introduced me to his mother Patricia, she seemed welcoming enough. She was a real estate agent with a reputation for closing impossible deals, always dressed impeccably in designer suits with not a hair out of place. "Oh darling," she'd say, air-kissing my cheeks, "you're exactly what my Marcus needs, someone grounded and practical." Our engagement party was when things started to shift. Patricia announced she had found the perfect wedding gift for us, a stunning Victorian mansion in the historic district. "It's meant to be yours," she insisted, showing us photos of the sprawling property with its ornate woodwork and meticulously maintained gardens. "I've already taken care of everything. Consider it done." Marcus was overjoyed. His mother had never been particularly generous before, always lecturing him about the value of earning things through hard work. This sudden display of maternal generosity moved him to tears. I, however, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. Maybe it was my journalist's instincts, or maybe it was the way Patricia's smile didn't quite reach her eyes when she handed us the keys. Either way, I decided to do what I do best, investigate. I started recording our conversations with Patricia, especially when she discussed the house. It wasn't that I didn't trust her, well, actually, that's exactly what it was. 15 years of investigative journalism had taught me to trust my gut, and my gut was screaming that there was more to this story. For months, everything seemed fine. We moved in, decorated each room with care, and hosted wonderful dinner parties in our new home. Patricia would visit occasionally, always commenting on how lucky we were to have such a beautiful house. "Remember," she'd say with that practiced smile, "family takes care of family." Then came the first demand for money. It started small, a few $100s here and there for emergency expenses. Marcus, ever the devoted son, never questioned it. But the amounts kept growing, and Patricia's tone became increasingly entitled. Yesterday, everything changed. Patricia showed up unannounced, perfectly manicured nails drumming against our kitchen counter as she explained her new expectations. "Listen, darling," she purred, "I've been thinking. This house is worth millions, and I made it happen. The least you could do is show some gratitude. Say, $5,000 a month?" I felt my blood run cold. "Patricia, what exactly do you mean by made it happen?" Her eyes narrowed slightly, but her smile remained fixed. "Oh, you know what I mean. These things don't just fall into one's lap. I worked my magic, pulled some strings. That's what mothers do for their children." I reached for my phone, heart pounding. "Actually, Patricia, I don't know what you mean. Why don't you explain it? Just like you explained it 3 months ago when you thought no one was listening?" Her perfectly composed facade cracked slightly. "What are you talking about?" Without a word, I pressed play on the recording I'd been saving for just such a moment. Patricia's voice filled the kitchen, crystal clear and undeniably damning. "Listen, James, I know what I'm doing. Those old fools had no idea what they were signing. By the time they realize what happened, the house will be in my son's name, and there's nothing they can do about it. The dementia diagnosis makes it foolproof. No judge will believe their story over mine. Just make sure those documents disappear like we discussed." Patricia's face drained of color as her own words echoed back at her. The recording continued, detailing every aspect of her scheme to deceive an elderly couple out of their family home. How she had manipulated medical records, forged signatures, and buried the paperwork under layers of shell companies. "Turn that off," she whispered, her composed demeanor completely shattered. "No, I don't think I will," I replied, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "In fact, I think Marcus needs to hear this too. He's on his way home now." As if on cue, we heard the front door open. Marcus's footsteps echoed through the foyer, growing louder as he approached the kitchen. Patricia's eyes darted toward the doorway, then back to me, panic replacing her usual confidence. "Honey?" Marcus called out. "Is everything okay? Your text seemed urgent." I kept my eyes locked on Patricia as I responded, "We're in the kitchen. Your mother has something interesting to share with you." Marcus appeared in the doorway, his expression shifting from concern to confusion as he took in the scene before him, his mother, usually so polished and controlled, looking like she'd seen a ghost, and me, standing my ground with phone in hand. "What's going on?" he asked, looking between us. "Play it again," Patricia blurted out, her voice barely above a whisper. "He needs to hear it from the beginning." I nodded and restarted the recording. For the next 15 minutes, we stood in silence as Patricia's elaborate scheme unfolded through her own recorded words. Multiple conversations, pieced together over months, painted a picture of calculated deception that left no room for doubt. Marcus leaned heavily against the counter, his face ashen. "Mom, how could you?" Patricia's composure crumbled completely. "I did it for you. That house was perfect for you, and those people weren't even using it properly. They were going to sell it to developers who would have torn it down. I saved it. By stealing it from an elderly couple with dementia?" Marcus's voice cracked with emotion. "By committing fraud? By blackmailing us for money using our own home as leverage?" "I need you to leave," I said firmly to Patricia. "Now. And don't contact us again until we figure out how to handle this." For a moment, she looked like she might argue, but something in our expressions must have told her it would be futile. Without another word, she gathered her designer purse and left, the click of her heels echoing through our suddenly tainted home. After the door closed, Marcus turned to me, his eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and pain. "How long have you known?" "I suspected something was wrong from the beginning," I admitted. "But I only started putting the pieces together about 3 months ago. I needed to be sure before I said anything." He nodded slowly, processing everything he'd heard. "The elderly couple she mentioned, we need to find them." "I already have," I replied softly. "Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. They're living with their daughter in a small apartment across town. I've been in contact with them for the past month, gathering evidence." Marcus ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I knew meant he was making a difficult decision. "We need to make this right." "We will," I assured him, reaching for his hand. "I have a plan." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of legal meetings and emotional conversations. We contacted the Andersons family and worked with them to restore ownership of the house to its rightful owners. The evidence I had gathered, combined with the recordings, left no room for Patricia to wiggle out of the consequences of her actions. She tried, of course. First came the tears and pleas for understanding. When those didn't work, she attempted to claim the recordings were manipulated. Finally, she threatened to drag us all down with her, claiming we were complicit in her scheme. But I had been thorough in my investigation. Every document, every conversation, every piece of evidence pointed solely to Patricia's guilt. Her real estate license was revoked, and criminal charges were filed. The local news, tipped off by an anonymous source, not me, for once, ran the story for weeks. The hardest part was watching Marcus come to terms with who his mother really was. The woman who had raised him, who had taught him about integrity and hard work, had built her success on lies and manipulation. It shook him to his core. But something beautiful emerged from the ashes of this deception. The Andersons, instead of pressing charges against Patricia, agreed to a settlement. They would regain ownership of their family home, but they wanted to sell it, properly this time, and move somewhere smaller. "We're too old for all these stairs anyway," Mrs. Anderson said with a gentle smile. "But we want to sell it to you too, at a fair price. We've seen how much you love this house, how well you've taken care of it. It should belong to people who appreciate its history. So here we are, 6 months later, signing papers to purchase our home, legally this time. The price is steep, but with our combined savings and a proper mortgage, we can manage it." Patricia is serving community service and attending mandatory counseling sessions as part of her plea deal. Marcus still struggles with his relationship with his mother, but he's working through it in therapy. We've set clear boundaries: no unannounced visits, no financial discussions, no manipulation. She's slowly learning to respect these boundaries, perhaps finally understanding that her actions have consequences. As for me, I've turned this experience into a series of articles about real estate fraud targeting elderly homeowners. The series has helped uncover similar schemes across the country, leading to new protective legislation being proposed in several states. Our home feels different now, cleaner somehow, despite its complicated history. Every creaking floorboard and ornate molding tells a story of justice restored, of truth prevailing over deception. And every morning, when I wake up in this beautiful old house that we now truly own, I'm grateful for the investigative instincts that helped us uncover the truth. Patricia still sends the occasional text, but they're different now. Gone are the demands for money and the entitled assertions. Instead, she's learning to be a mother again, one careful step at a time. Last week, she sent a simple message: "I'm sorry. I hope someday you can forgive me." Maybe we will, eventually. But for now, we're focused on making this house our home, the right way this time. And every time I pass by the antique mirror in our foyer where I hid that first recording device, I smile, knowing that sometimes the best stories are the ones that emerge when you simply pay attention to the truth hiding in plain sight. The Andersons come to visit occasionally, sharing stories about the house's history and the generations that grew up within these walls. Their grandchildren play in the same garden where Patricia once plotted her scheme, their laughter washing away the lingering shadows of deception. Marcus and I have started our own traditions in this home, hosting Sunday dinners for friends and organizing community events in our spacious backyard. We're writing our own chapter in this house's long history, one built on honesty, integrity, and the belief that doing the right thing matters more than any mansion. As I sit in our library, finishing this account of what happened, I can hear Marcus in the kitchen preparing dinner. The sounds of him humming off-key while he cooks fill me with a profound sense of peace. We may have taken a complicated path to get here, but we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And that $5,000 monthly payment Patricia demanded? We've decided to donate that amount every month to a foundation that helps protect elderly homeowners from real estate fraud. Sometimes the best revenge is simply turning someone's greed into a force for good. The doorbell rings, probably the Andersons arriving for their weekly visit. As I get up to answer it, I catch a glimpse of my reflection in that antique mirror. The woman looking back at me isn't just an investigative journalist anymore, she's someone who understood that sometimes the biggest stories start right at home. Life has a funny way of teaching us lessons we didn't know we needed to learn. Through this whole ordeal, I've learned that home isn't just about the building you live in, it's about the truth you build your life upon. And now, finally, our truth is as solid as the foundation beneath our feet.